Rich Mamas Club. Welcome back, y'all. Like, okay, we are like making this a thing now. If you haven't noticed, like we're consistently pushing this thing out. I really enjoy doing these interviews. Some women have been like new people that I'm getting to know and their motherhood journey, and then others are just friends that I know and love. Today is a little bit different because this is family, y'all. Look, we are married to cousins. And she was one of the only people I trusted my daughter with in her very early years. And she enjoyed it so much she went and had more kids herself. No, anywho, y'all, welcome Mrs. Jasmyne Cole to the stage, y'all. Hey, Jazz.
Hi.
Look, I'm so excited because I didn't even go into like all of the details because like we like family or whatever. We cousins, y'all. But you have been married to my husband's cousin, Brandon, for how long now? Y'all been together?
10 years in October this year.
10 years, y'all. Almost 10 whole years.
Yes.
Okay. So one, I know you asked me this when we had our triple date at your apartment, how me and Dave met and
Yes.
another couple that was there. But how did you and Brandon meet? Let's start there.
We met through his cousin, who was my like little sister at the time. And she just kept talking about how, like, oh, I have the perfect person for you. I have the perfect person for you. And I was very new on my faith walk. Um, and I was kind of good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good by myself and God. Like, we are doing our thing. And she just kept saying, I'm like, okay, where is he? Well, let me just meet this guy. And so we were having this youth event because I worked as a coordinator with the youth department. And she was like, I'm going to invite him, just come. And this particular day wasn't good for me. My grandma was in hospital. And I was just not there. Like, me and her were really close. So I didn't want to meet nobody. I was just like, I'm just here because you told me to come. So when I met him, I kind of met him with an attitude. And I was just like, hi, you cute, but hi. And he was so kind to me and just so like understanding. And the fact that my little sister, his cousin at the time, she was just like looking. I'm like, okay, we'll exchange numbers. And we did, and we talked that night like for hours. And we talked every day ever since. So
So you was being a mean girl, basically. That's what I heard.
pretty much. I mean, when life hits you, you kind of just like, I'm not tripping off anything else. And then God enters this blessing that you don't understand at the time. And you're just like, okay, I'll receive it hesitantly. But in the moment, you think it's a distraction. So that's kind of how I was. I was just like, okay. And we literally have talked ever since. Like, not a day.
Look, 4 kids later, y'all. Look.
4 babies later.
Yeah.
Recent one included, just we still get shocked by it, honestly.
Yeah. Look, so almost 10 years married, 4 children later. All of our other guests as of now have all been like mom entrepreneurs, like mom, like corporate ladder climbers. And I'm super excited for you to be like our first mom who, one, you're a homeschool mom.
Yeah.
You have your creative edge and other I think that you could go to the marketplace with when you're ready,
Yeah.
Let's talk about being a homeschool mom. And when I first met you, you was a homeschool mom, but you had 2 kids now. Now I'm sure it's a lot different.
It is. It is. Homeschooling, just the journey of that, to just give a little backstory to it, it was actually something that I always wanted to do. I just didn't think I could because I never saw it. I just never, I think maybe one kid in elementary school came to school like during art and gym classes as like, I guess, electives now that I look back at it. But in the moment, I didn't understand why he wasn't at school with us. So when I understood that more as I grew up, I was like, that's something that I would love to do, but nobody talked about it. Nobody did it. So when I got grown and me and Brandon started dating and just talking about marriage, from there, I was just kind of researching it and stepping out and tiptoeing in it. When I had Annie, it was like, okay, I want to do it, but I'm nervous and I'm scared. And who's going to support me? Because I wanted to do it just out the gate from birth. I didn't want to send her anywhere, but I kind of felt peer pressure from society to not do it. And so I tried it. I sent her with her great grandma at the time, and I'm like, "Can you watch her? I'm going back to work." And at the time, she had acid reflux, is what I call it, but it's something else with the babies when they choke on their milk and stuff. But she would have it so bad that it would, like, if you didn't know how to handle it, it would scare you. Like, you would think something's wrong.
Yeah.
That day, my great grandma called me, and she was freaking out. And right then, I was like, "I'm done. I'm done. I'm gonna come home." And the journey from there started out of fear, I will admit, because I just didn't know what I was doing, and then I didn't want anybody else to take care of her with that going on. But then it just became this beautiful flower that I feel like is still blooming because I'm learning education for myself. I'm
Yeah.
learning myself as a teacher. I'm learning myself as a mom and like the hats that go into that. But also seeing your child love education is
Yeah.
just really, it motivates you to want to get creative with how they do it and what they do it. And the only real roadblock at this point is kind of just realizing that you don't have to do it the way you were taught. So in public school, they have so many kids that they have to look at, and they have to gauge everybody on this average plane. And I don't have to do that. And it's a beautiful thing at this point.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, y'all know y'all got so many questions. So feel free if you're watching this to throw them in the chat and I will relay them back to Jasmine. Well, one she's gonna be tapped here, but I know people are gonna have a ton of questions, right? So something, I forgot. I remember before I had my child, I feel like for you, like you experienced it one-on-one with seeing kids coming to school for the electives. I forgot about that. The people that well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the things that people don't know that are perks of homeschool. So like start with the electives, right? That they can come to school, like start there, but just
Yeah.
talk about different things that maybe people don't know.
The perks of homeschool are, one is co-ops. So let's say you are a parent that isn't that confident, or just to be honest, you want a little break sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But you still want your kid to be educated. There are co-ops, which are kind of like schools, where other homeschool kids can get together for those electives. So if there is art or gym or Spanish, things like that. But also if you want core classes, so math and science, you can go there, get certain subjects, but they're not held to the state standard as a public school is. So you still have to keep track of what they're doing. You still have to help with their homework, but it is a way where you have like a substitute teacher, a helper, where you can send your kids to, and it's such a benefit. There's also libraries. Let's not slip asleep on the libraries.
Yeah, yeah.
Libraries are a benefit of homeschool if you aren't comfortable, whether that's financially or just you don't know the people who are at that state, or you and your spouse are still kind of gauging it. Go to the library. They have homeschool clubs, actually, is what we call them, but they give like art. The one that we go to, they give art and science. So we go there as all of us together. We pack up, and they do this cool little activity with a video sometimes. One time they were supposed to go on a nature walk, things like that, where you can be involved, you can see what's happening, and then they give you activities to take home. So then there you go. That's something that helps you. And
Yeah.
then there's also the fact that you can do it however you want, when you want. I just had a baby. We took 3 weeks. Nothing. Nothing. Like, I was not teaching actively because you're in homeschool. A side thing is that you realize you're always learning. So if my kids are going to watch TV, you're going to watch educational stuff. We
Yeah.
have lists that we have accumulated of things they're going to watch. If you're going to read a book, that's always, reading is always great, but then maybe we can tailor it to a certain subject. But I'm not as involved because I've been had this baby. I'm tired. So those are just a few of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that, y'all. So like look into all of these different and I think that there is like Missouri is like one of the top
Yes.
homeschool states, if I wasn't mistaken. When I thought I was gonna be a homeschool mom, but look,
That's
y'all, I ain't got it in me. I ain't got it. And here's the cool part. Like, I think you told me this. What was it? It was something you told me very early, but I had just had her. I was like, oh, I can't wait till I get to this point. You was like, there's no comparison or something. It was something you said. It was like, it was very prolific the way that you mentioned it in this quote. And I held tight to I was like, oh, yeah, like we're not it's not gonna look the same for everybody, right? And that's okay. Uh
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I wanted to homeschool because I wasn't in emotionally safe environments, like growing up in schools, like it just wasn't really good to just to be yourself. And I feel like my daughter has that overall now, going to private school. But if look, if it was something, if I had to, I know that homeschool would be my next bet, right? Like, but I ain't got it in me right now, y'all. Maybe some years
Yeah.
later.
And maybe not. I think that's the beautiful thing about it. At least for me, I love talking to other moms who don't homeschool because there's such a benefit of what we can gain from each other. You know, like I feel like the mom who works because all mamas work in the home.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
like,
Full
we
time job.
all work in the home. So if you have another job outside of the home, I feel like the multitasking game that you have, I can benefit from because I'm like, well, tell me more, tell me more. Like, how do you
Yeah.
do that? And I think that there's a stigma there that um, if you stay at home, like if you mention that to somebody, they feel like they have to say one of two things. This is what I've just noticed. They either say, I wish I could, or that must be nice.
Mm,
And when they say it, it's not. It used to offend me in a way where I'm like, oh, well, I didn't mean to say anything wrong. You just, you're asking me about myself or you're getting to know me.
mm,
But now I'm just like, it could be nice. What you have is nice too. There's no comparison there. Like there's no you need to be at home because I think every mother's heart is for her home. I
yeah.
really do. And
Mhm.
how that looks is different. How
Yeah.
that show up is different. And what benefits your kid is different than what benefits mine. So
Yeah.
I love that we've always had that dynamic. We've always had that. But it is hard out there as homeschool moms to say it because it's the stigma of like either you're weird and your kids are weird, or or like you live in large and we're not, baby, we're not. We are just sacrificing certain things that we agreed upon to be able to give our kids this type of life. And I don't think that that makes me any better or any less, and vice versa. God calls us to different paths.
Yeah. I love that. And I think everybody makes sacrifices in their home, right, for
Yeah,
certain things.
yeah,
But in this case, like your sacrifice, you get to I think you get to see the sacrifice day to day, if that makes sense. Like, you know how sometimes you sacrifice, you get to see the benefit. Let me say that. You
yeah.
get to see the benefit immediately because you're there with them and you kind of get to see certain things.
Yeah.
And I feel like I wanted that for a while. But the thing is, too, also knowing your temperament and who you are goes a lot into being able to do that. Because I was like, look, if Jasmine ever opened up a school, look, I got some money for it. I will see this shit. Look here, I will gladly look out. She was the first person to ever watch my child, and
Yeah.
she decided to have more kids, and it didn't work no more.
I know. Look, and we've been talking about it, but we'll talk about that after.
Look, I'm just saying, look, because look here, I pay tuition now, because look, but I think that it really matters where you are in life too, because as I was
Mhm.
trying to force myself to be able to do that, I fell into like some depression
Yeah.
because it's still a large part. I was an entrepreneur that became a mom, so like
Mhm.
cutting that piece off of you, and I've been raised in entrepreneurship, and then like it's something that's innately in me that if I
Mhm.
don't activate it, I feel like a part of me is dead. And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that like I'm less of a mom or anything. It's like because I know there's probably some more women like, dang, I wish that I could. Like you said, people like, oh, I wish I could. And yeah, I tried and it wasn't for me.
And that's okay. And I love how you put that. If you didn't activate that part of you, you felt like it was gonna like you were gonna die. That's how I felt about this. It was
Mhm.
like pulling so hard that I'm like, Lord, this is new territory. And I was not an entrepreneur. I didn't have anything else calling me to that point at that time. So it was a good thing that I could be able to do that. It lined up. God ordered them steps perfectly. And I think you do such a disservice to force yourself to be something you're not.
Yeah.
You and your kids. If you're
Yeah.
trying to, get into this cookie cutter of what it looks like to be at home and you feel like it has to look this way, especially because I believe that every mom can do this. every mom can, because we've done it forever. Like we've always worked and we've always been at home. Like that's what we do. We're just doing it differently as the years go on. So if you feel that strongly, but you staying at home and you're trying to do this and you're trying to do that, and this thing is tugging at you, your kids see that.
Yeah.
They see that. And they're like, mommy's happier when she's away. Mommy's happier when she's doing that. And it gives them this look that you want to be somewhere else when really that's not the case. I love you. I love my babies. But this is what God has called me to. And when they see that, the vision just changes. And just
Yeah.
imagine it, like your baby, she sees that. And she's learning. Like she's still being homeschooled.
And she prefers school over me sometimes, y'all. Every time she ride past me, she was like, friends. Like she cried. I remember the first month when we sent her to school. We did the half day because I thought she was gonna miss being with me so much. I think it was like the third day I walked up to go pick her up, and she was crying. She did not want to leave.
She was like, I want to be here. And you gotta pay attention to that.
Yeah, and now she run in and she know everybody. Hi, friends. Like she's a social like we are extroverts and we love people. Right. So like when people are around, she feels energized. So her being at home all day with me, and I don't know. Like I think I want more kids, and some days I don't. I don't know if I got it in me. I don't know financially if I will be able to swing it. Right. So look, if I can't give her a brother or sister, let me go let you play with some kids.
Hey, I ain't mad at
that. man. But I really love that. I love the way you parent. I've always told you this even before I became a parent. And I also love how you guys have equally been able to integrate like faith-based practices with your children. Let's talk about some of that because we have not dived deeper into like, people in their faith and but I love the way you and Brandon have really cultivated that in your children. So yeah.
It is one of the main drivers as to why we homeschool. We all see the world in the state that it's in. So, what better way to raise up your children with the values and the morals that you want your kids to have and to teach them? Like I said, your kids are always learning from you, whether they're in traditional school or not. So, being at home, when we talk about the Bible, it's throughout the day. It's not just, we do it at certain times. When we talk about our faith and why we believe what we believe, that the gospel and Jesus is the true and living God and that the gospel is real, we have to live that out in front of them. And for me, okay, they see repentance. They see the mess ups. They see it all because we're here together. Yeah. So I really truly get to live out that gospel lifestyle in front of them. Yeah. And that's not always easy. That's not always fun. But I have seen the benefits of my kids knowing like mommy reads the Bible to us and daddy reads the Bible to us. And not only do they tell us about it, but they also come back and apologize for things that are wrong. They actually, they come back and we do the things we talk about. So the benefit of that also is that when I do teach, because we do have like morning routine, it can count as homeschool hours because it's historical. It happened.
Come on, did it?
We count this towards their schooling and they benefit two ways, So it's a beautiful thing to integrate your faith into what you truly believe it's a God-given path. Yeah. So I could go on and on about that, but
I love it. Girl, like, come on with the plug, y'all. Look, teaching the Bible and it count towards history hours. Love it. Yes, love that. Okay, so Jasmine, what did I not ask you? Like, I feel like we could go on and on because we already know each other and we've had like other topics. Right? Yeah, what's something that I think that people don't think enough about when it comes to potentially transitioning to stay home with their children or doing it as, one, you're Christian, you're also a Black mom, like, and there are other things. You have 2 sons, So what are those dynamics like when it comes to being at home full time?
There are, like I said, ups and downs, pros and cons. So I would say that somebody who is looking to get into homeschooling, do your research for sure, especially if your kids are already in school, because there is a protocol for how to disenroll them, to let the school know like it's summer break, so they're not coming back. And there is a process and I can give like websites and stuff like that another time. But there's a process to do that because you will get legally they will reach out to you as well as a negative way to say where's your child at, why aren't they here. So I would definitely do your research if you're looking to unenroll your children, but also pray, 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 and pray because again, my heart was so strong for being home with my babies that I actually didn't go into it saying I wanted to homeschool to be home. I was going to be the PTA mom. They
Mm.
was gonna know my face. I was going to be at every field trip. I was going to be a homemaker, but I would be active in my school, in the kids' schools. But when I transitioned slowly but surely, I'm just like, well, we kind of like, let's say flashcards. We're doing kind of good with that. And slowly but surely it became a maybe I could do this. And I had to start praying, like, Lord, is this what you would want for us to do? Like,
Yeah.
am I built for this? Am I? Because my natural temperament is not, hi, guys. Like, no. Mm-mm. I'm like, now go and sit down now, okay? Like, my natural temperament is not always bubbly and this, like what people think when they think homeschool mom. So I
Yeah.
had to pray and ask that. Another thing I would say is talk to other homeschoolers. Talk to them. See what resources they have. I was blessed to have a lot of at the church we were going to at the time. They had a lot of homeschool moms, so I was able to pick their brains and ask them what is it that they liked, why were they homeschooling, and then also I talked to my husband all the time. I'm like, what do we do? How do we financially? How does this look? At the time, like I said, we had just gotten married. And then we had Annie. Like Annie's about to be 9, and we're about to be 10 as a marriage. So,
Oh my gosh, y'all did the same thing as us. Oh, we gotta talk about because, like, yeah, how have you
yes.
maneuvered through that? Because I feel okay. Let me ask you. I'm sorry.
Come
I'll
on, no,
bring this up because
yes.
we will be 5 as
Mhm.
knowing each other. Oh yeah, we just been married for 4. We met 5. We have a 3-year-old. So it's
Mhm.
been like every year adding on something else. And
Mhm.
I'm like, man, should we have like waited a little bit longer because we haven't traveled? And I love to go, honey. I'm
Yes,
gonna go. And Dave's such a homebody, so he cool with being at home. But do you ever feel like, I mean, not that you can change anything, but do you ever feel like,
yeah.
man, I wish I had more time with my partner?
Yeah. We talk about that often. Like what would it look like? Because our plan was, oh, we're gonna wait 3 or 4 years before we have kids. I don't know how we thought that without doing what it takes to wait, but okay. I don't know where that faith was, but we did. We were just like, we're gonna wait, and then yeah, that would be house ready and all these type of things. So when I got pregnant with my first, I I was so shocked that I don't even think like I was like yay for a minute. I was just like, and that's so was he because we had these plans. We had these lavish thoughts of what marriage would be like, and I think the Lord knew what He was doing
Yeah.
because marriage for us has blossomed with kids more than what I think we thought it would be with us. Because I think we knew each other for 2 years before we got married, and in that, like I said, I was new to my faith, so a lot of and he was rooted, by the way, so he was very rooted in his Christianity. So a lot of that was new for me.
Yeah.
And I believe that for me, just me personally, that when I had kids, or when we got married, I'm sorry, we were getting to know each other in what I now knew a Christian marriage to be. I was forming what that looked like. I come from a single mother. I come from grandparents that weren't happy in their marriage. I
Yeah.
come from, but they went to church, like things like that. So my view of what a Christian marriage was only my uncle and my aunt, who I absolutely adore to this day. So I was like, okay, Lord, this is my chance to kind of be that, like be them in a sense, not coveting what they had, but realizing I can be a Christian, I can be a wife, and I can be happy. I didn't say mama, okay? I didn't say mom. So when that happened, I was like, Lord, what about the trips? Lord, what about what about us saving the way we want to? What about this? What about that? And I thank God now for this path because we probably just I don't know if we would have had
Mm,
because I think we would have loved our life, you know? And I also think that the way my husband is and how his heart is for children and mine is too, that even if we didn't have her the first year or the second year, like it would have become something eventually that I feel, like I said, that pull was continuously happening. So when my firstborn came, it was needed. But I do have moments, and we do have moments like our honeymoon, or that we really didn't have, like or certain anniversaries that were like, you know, we have other priorities. And I do believe that when they leave the nest, we're gonna live it up,
yeah,
okay? We're
yeah,
gonna live it up. But I understand where you're coming from with that. I do.
yeah. And I think that's something too to be so transparent about because I think that I meet a lot of people like, oh, I wish I was married or oh, I wish I had like they don't like and not to say like we all like look at another hand and think it might be better than what we got in ours sometimes,
Uh-huh,
you know.
uh-huh.
But just really being real, like the crowns be heavy no matter how many diamonds are in them, whatever, like
Mhm,
they all
mhm.
had weight to them, and
Yes.
responsibility because like just even this year, like financially was just much different. Like I thought we was like what I found out is we just don't we were not handling our finances as well. We were making a lot of money. We were also spending a lot of money. And then this
Mm,
year, and it's like, oh, it's harder to make money because the economy is different and just
yeah.
other things. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, we can't go do a $200 dinner this time, or we can't give out we are both really big givers. So like we want to send people gift cards for
Like,
holidays. I was like, not this year, y'all. Not um,
right,
like,
right, right.
just keeping up those things and making sure that we can support people but it's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, this is a season where
Mhm.
you just can't do that. And I think that was hard for me because I feel like I had rich auntie energy before I became a mom. Like, I mean, I feel like I always had mothering tendencies, but I
Yeah.
definitely like, oh, I see somebody needs something. I always wanted to be the person where I could step in the gap and help them. I'm like, oh, and child, like, no, not right now. We just gotta figure this out. Like, and our anniversary was the first time where we didn't like really go this year, like go to a nice restaurant. I was like, but okay, we just think that right now, and it's year 4, it's not 5. I'm like, maybe we gonna celebrate odd years. I don't know, you
Yeah.
know, fully, but just thinking through some of those things, we have other priorities, or just it's
Yeah.
something really it's a good way to put it, and it also feels like okay, it's not forever to your point,
Yeah.
like, hey, this is
Yeah.
just a priority right now. Uh,
But also, I'm sorry to cut you
no,
off,
you
but
good, you good. Uh-huh.
also to enjoy the time until then. Because when we were just like, I'm not gonna say we harped on. I think I did a little bit longer than he did. But once I got over the fact that like, okay, my life isn't going the way I imagined it would go, that's fine. Okay. We either going to relish or be down about it, or we're going to enjoy this process. And I think that for us, having date nights at home, okay, we might not be able to get to go out this particular time, but we're gonna swing it this way.
Yeah,
Or we even want to like we used to have dates with our kids, but especially when we had two. So we would like take each kid out and just kind of get to know them individually. Even
yeah,
that, because now we have four. So now it's like, okay, are we gonna do two, do the girls and then the boys? And then like how are we going to do that? So navigating it and enjoying the journey is really important because I have learned that my kids can also mimic how I don't enjoy it. So, for instance, we were going to have a date with my son. I was going out with him, and I'm like tired. I'm so tired. Like I don't necessarily want to get out and do this, but I know he really enjoys it. So put on my mommy face. And I'm like, we're going to go out. I'm like, come on, son. Thinking, he doesn't know the difference. So I think I was 8 months pregnant at the time with our last child. And he was just like, Mom, I know you want to do the date. Like, I do know, but I don't really want to do the date. And I'm like, why don't you? He's like, it seems like we didn't really talk about it like we did, like we used to, because we were planning it. He's like, we just didn't really talk about it like we used to. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna readjust right now. Right now. We just
Yeah.
gonna shake off whatever it is we feeling, and then we're going to get into this together. And
Yeah.
that's what we did. Like, I don't remember what exactly we did, but we came home having a good time, telling my husband and my daughter, I'm like, look what we did. Because they mimic that. Like, they see, okay, you're getting a little bit more busy. This is tying your way. Like, they see that. And if you don't enjoy those moments, they go so quickly. They go so quickly. And I'm realizing that a lot of my mothering, there is an aspect of grief in mothering. There is. And it's not because somebody has passed away or like you necessarily lost something, but losing time.
Mm,
It's a thing. It's a thing to know that time where when I'm talking to older women, they're looking back like, I wish I would have sat more with them. I wish I would have read the book. I wish I would have took him to the park. I wish I would have, and it's a lot of would have. And I'm realizing that, older generations, there's an aspect of grief there of just time.
yeah. Yeah.
And I'm realizing that the more kids we have and the more busy we just get in the home, it's like, oh, you grew an inch? When did you grow? When did your feet get that big? Like,
Yeah.
I don't fit these clothes anymore. Where was I? Like, where was I? And I realized that, and that's okay. That's okay to realize the aspect of grief, but treasure the time. They're gonna grow. Time is going to continue on, but if we don't treasure those moments in light of, having the baby sooner than we thought, in light of, losing the job for some people, or in light of, a miscarriage, whatever it is, if we don't enjoy even the other moments,
Yeah.
what's it for? What are we doing and what are we teaching?
Okay, y'all. Had to have a moment. Sorry, what? Jazz had to have a moment. But definitely, I concur. Well, I definitely meet a lot of people that say they wish they shoulda, coulda, woulda, like a lot of that.
Mhm.
And even I noticed, I think you seen this. I posted on Facebook the other day where I said Amara dropped water on my MacBook, and oh my God, I was hot. I didn't want to talk to her. And now she got this thing because I've been popping her lately just because she just been
Mhm.
getting out of hand. And she was like, I was like, oh, I don't want her to think that this is like, like all of the things, right? So all in my feelings
Wow.
about my daughter hitting herself and saying no. And
Um,
then, but the next thing that happened is like, I posted on and some baby gave me a trick and I put it down. I was like, I think that was also God saying, hey, like you can't work through everything. And typically I grieve through working harder and all of the things. And I think I have to even learn now with her being older how to engage with her at this level because she's so busy. She
yeah,
always into something, and I don't even
yeah.
feel like I have mental capacity for it. So we are loading up activities this summer. She in basketball and in basketball, soccer. We got swimsuits. We going to the splash pads, and she in summer. She's going to all of them because she has so much more energy, and I think that I don't have enough energy to give to her right now, mental capacity. So I have to
Mhm.
fill that up sometime away and kind of talk with her and just cherish what I do have. But this 3 is something else, y'all. Like, let me tell you, these 3-year-olds, it ain't for the weak. That's what I was.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. But I also want to encourage you that a lot of times we say, well, we don't have it, but I think that we do. We just don't realize how we have it because
Mm,
I think that I've seen Amara with you so much fun. Like, and when you're doing your thing, and then she's there, like you're doing it. You're doing it. There's your capacity. Like your capacity is different than everybody else's. So
yeah,
I encourage you, any other mom, like we have capacity to do things. Because I say all the time, like, I don't know how I'm gonna do any more kids. And then we have another one. And then I'm like, my capacity grows, my capacity
yeah.
changes, my capacity
Yeah. And that's
and
what I was thinking. I was like, oh, if I have another one, will this engage her more? Like, well, I don't want her to be the only child because I grew up as the only child and I felt so lonely all the time. And anytime she see a kid, she'd be like, like super excited.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, girl, I don't know. Like, I just don't even know how. But also, too, that's where our faith comes in, too. Like, okay, God,
Yeah.
there's so many unknowns in this. Like,
Mhm.
or will be done in this situation, because I be trying to figure it all out, and I think that's where some of my capacity. I'm like, okay, well, this got to the 2 plus 2 got to equal 4, and the 4 plus 4. Like,
Yeah.
I be over here like, because that's how I think in strategy. And here's the crazy part: as much strategy as you think you have, like all of the things you plan, like what did it say? Like God laughs at our plans, like those kind of things.
Yeah, big time. Big
It,
time.
it does not go like that, because I definitely had y'all plan to be a work from homepreneur mom, and
Mhm.
child, we both needed our space. She looked just like him, but she act just like me. That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. And that's when you see yourself, that part of parenting, good and bad. It's like, ooh, okay. All right. And then it's like, ooh, okay, all right. Like you see it. And it is, like you said, the capacity level, it matters. It does
Yeah,
matter. That's part of that praying thing. And again, that applies to whatever stage your motherhood looks like.
yeah,
But you're right. The capacity aspect, it does matter. But like I said, I think we all have it. It's just how it looks. Like, what does it look like? If it's not sitting down, reading the book, singing the song, or whatever, it could look different. But
yeah,
they don't care. They just care that they're with you. They don't care that it looks different. They don't know what to compare it to.
yeah.
So I encourage
That's
all my
real.
friends.
They can't compare it to anything, especially at
They
this
can't.
age. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they can see
good.
it.
Okay, so you got to give some quick hacks. What has
Okay.
it been like? Basically, y'all live off of one income. Like,
Hmm.
what are some things that you have done to maneuver that for some moms who are considering homeschooling? What advice would you give to them?
Okay. Some hacks. Some hacks. Coming down to one income, one thing I can say, this is more newer for me because I have littles. So those with littles is keep in mind that pack your car, not the bag. That's
Mm,
just a simple hack. Packing your car, I'm learning, is so much better. I have two under two. And I don't know how many times I'm like, where is this? Where is that? Where is this? Where is that? When we're out. So
yeah,
having my car packed with the extra things that I need, I mean, go on YouTube. They have plenty of videos of how to pack your car with littles, but just to have that stuff in the car. And then if the backpack is there, you have everything you need at home, stay at home. Everything you need in the car, stay in the car. Some people, that's just a little portion of their trunk in like a little bin. Other
yeah.
people, that may be multiple bins. For me, it is. So
I needed
whatever.
that like 3 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like a game changer. So that's one hack. Another hack with the homemaking side of things is to be able to function. For us, it helps to function at a week's time. So if I want to sit down and I'm like, how do I want my week to go? I plan out my week, but I also plan like, okay, I know that this kid goes to sleep at this time. This kid has a nap. I'm going to utilize nap time for this kid's homeschooling. I'm going to utilize, so plan out your week. Or if some people work 2 weeks, a month, however that is. When you plan it though, you always know what to fall back to. That's a simple thing right there. Because I can get to a time where it's like, what are you supposed to be doing right now? Go look at the planner. Go look at the paper. Go look at the board so we can fall right back in line. It's very simple, but I promise you it matters. Um, Also, go outside.
Mm,
Get out this house. Get out. Every mom who wants to come home also needs to get out.
yeah,
Like, it does so much for you and your children. Play dates are welcome, but also don't. If it's just a walk around the park with you and the kids, that's okay. And you know what? It counts as homeschooling if you make it a nature walk.
mm,
Let's find this particular branch in this season, or let's bring a worksheet. You guys color the pages, and when you find the thing that matches it, we cross it off. That
yeah.
that that counts as education. And then I think food in homemaking and homeschooling is such a big deal. Making bins for the day. Here are your snacks. Don't ask me for nothing else outside of this bin. Here's your bin. Like, that's it. Label them. You go to the counter and you get it. Now, this is something that I did and I slacked on, so we're getting back to this. But going to the counter, getting your bin with your snacks, that's it. They won't eat you out of house and home. or nothing. You still have things for ingredients for dinner. I mean, and you might want to do it for your husband, if
Yeah.
they're working from home or something like that. So that way your stuff stays there. Because how many times have we been like, where is that? Oh, I ate it, or oh, I didn't know. Or you like, that was supposed to go for dinner. Like, come on now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So those little things matter. I think that's all I can think of for now. But
Those are good. Those are good. Look, I'm taking some notes myself. Look, I was like, oh, I can do a snack then. That makes sense. And girl, packing quick. Look, the one thing that has come in handy is always keeping my stroller in the car. But
yeah.
lo and behold, we went to a festival today and I rode with my mom and I was like, dang, my
Yeah.
stroller in my car. You know what I'm saying? I'm so happy to not have to
Yeah.
drive. So, and the girl was melting down everywhere. Like, people were like,
Yeah.
oh, pretty, how you doing? I'm like, girl, I'm here. I'm here. Like, for real. Because just maneuvering a toddler in her meltdowns in the public is
Yes. With
fun.
the back arching. Woo!
I'm so glad we went early, and I know everybody like probably out more during this time of the day and not early. Like,
Yeah.
child, I'd be embarrassed. I'd
It
be,
there are those real moments. You like, because I told my husband not so long ago. I said, we are that family. He was like, "What you mean?" I'm like we were that family the other day at a party, and it was like not quiet, but it was like no kids were around. And then my 1 year old comes in, "Ah!" Like whole vibe gone, like whole vibe just gone. I'm like, hey, like, it's
we went out to
embarrassing.
eat, and she was screaming and hollering. We was at Chili's, and I was like, "Oh!" I remember being in Chili's and like, "Oh, you can't get that." Well, not at Chili's, but at a restaurant. And like,
Uh,
hey, you can't handle your child, and people really don't know. Like, no, you really can't make them do anything when they're a
yeah,
toddler. Like, there's no making. Like,
it's different, and I think what I'm learning, because I love me some older seasoned women, love them, and
yeah,
when I'm listening to them, and I know you probably come in contact. Well, back in my day, you gonna sit there, you better
yeah,
be quiet. It's different than now when it's like they probably could take their kids out to a nice restaurant, and now I'm like, but what stress did that put on you to do that? Because you got to build up to that point. There's a lot of
yeah,
whoopings probably have to be given, timeouts, however it is you do it. And I think that I choose differently than them. Like in
yeah.
certain aspects, I'm like, I'm not going to stress myself out to get to this restaurant when I can now order takeout. I can get the restaurant and be at home. Like it's a different type of feel. And I think the embarrassment level that we can have, they didn't, because they was like, "We're not doing that. No, no,
Yeah.
no." It doesn't
And then
allow that.
too, what they did, like, you could go to jail for spanking your kid now, like in
Yes,
public. So
a
look, we
lot
ain't
of
doing that.
it's a lot of different stuff, and
Yeah.
there's so many gems I get from seasoned women, and so many like things that I'm like, "Oh, I can adapt that to where I am now." That I think it can look like, well, maybe they don't come to everything, and sometimes I opt not to, because I'm like, I'd rather us be happy, everybody's comfortable, everybody's doing their own thing, versus sacrificing having to change the whole vibe of the family because one kid is doing this.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
not a kid friendly event. We probably gonna be at the crib, like, and that's okay. Or maybe I'll send my husband go with one kid, the older kid. Something
Yeah.
we adjust. The capacity changes. That's what that does, and that's okay. That's
Yeah.
all.
That's good. That's good. So we're coming to our wrap, and I always want to talk about like self-care
Mhm.
and what you do to take care of yourself, and maybe some gems that you have there for moms who managing multiple kids in a house and all those things. So what does self-care look like for you?
Right now, it looks like walks, solo walks by myself, just being able to get that time to pray, or to not think, to just hear the trees. I love a good walk, and I'm starting to get back into books, tangible books, to actually hold. I used to be a big bookworm,
Yeah.
so engaging my mind in that way. But I think my biggest self care that has helped me is my settings on my phone.
Mm,
It has been the best self care. Just setting up my the times in which I'm going to do things, setting timers for certain things, and even clearing my phone of certain things. Just, I don't need this, whether that's pictures, but also like, stuff you save, websites, just anything that you can get in your phone, just clear out. It has done something for my brain that I can't, that is just been clearer. So what I'm engaging with on my phone has been probably my top self-care tip to anybody. Just manage your phone.
That's good. That's good. So, what's something you want to leave the audience with for people who might be, considering this or just? Well, I'm gonna tell y'all. Look, if y'all come in, she definitely has been homeschooling for over 6 years, right?
Yeah, we're 8 now. Yeah,
8 years.
Mhm.
Homeschooling for 8 years. They say it takes 10,000 hours to be considered an expert. You're almost at that. I believe you're an expert now. So look, if y'all are interested in learning about homeschooling, she ain't no consultant officially, but she could be. So if you're interested, ask, can you send her a love offering on her time to learn how to set up your homeschool life? I'm out and telling her that she should charge people for her knowledge and just setting up the clock hours and building up resources and all of those things, because you've been doing it for a long time now. But what's something maybe we didn't cover that you want someone to kind of stick with?
I would say wisdom requires a lot of grace. As a mom, we have wisdom. We need wisdom. I put it like that. We know a lot of things. We can get a lot of things at the fingertips. Google, all the things that we need to look up is there. But there's just a lot of life lessons that we have to learn. And we have to apply what we know. And in applying that, we're going to mess up a lot. So grace yourself. Grace yourself. I'm learning that my mom is such a proponent of that. She always tells me, Jasmine, grace yourself. Grace yourself. And I think that we have soft girl era, isn't that what they're saying and now, or they were?
Yeah.
And I think that should be so the norm, that we realize that we can grace ourselves. We don't need permission to grace ourselves. Heavenly Father does that. He graces us. So why would we not do that for ourselves? So whether you're homeschooling or not, just as a human, apply what we know, and in applying what we know, grace yourself, because wisdom needs grace all the time.
Couldn't say it any better. Just want to publicly give you your flowers. I think you're an amazing mom and wife, and just even an amazing. I feel like we built a friendship in the midst of us being around each other. So I know if I needed something, if I needed a suggestion or a mommy tip, that you would give me the best knowledge that I would be able to find beyond Google. And look, I just thank you for being there when I needed you, when I was really in the postpartum era. That meant a lot. That I knew my child was safe. Me growing up with, experiencing, I want to say, do you call it incest or, being fondled by family members, but I knew my child would be safe with you, and I appreciate you and Brandon for giving me that mental space that I needed, and I was like, oh, I can figure this out now. You know what I'm saying? So yes. So look, y'all, this is Mrs. Jasmyne Cole. Look, future consultant for homeschool moms. Look, I'm just claiming that for her. When she ready, y'all, when she ready. But until then, she is an amazing wife, amazing mom, and even more amazing human. Thank y'all for tapping. If you want to learn more about what we do at Rich Mama's Club and all of the things, I feel like these are the conversations that I get to have on a daily basis, where super moms get to take off their cape and just be vulnerable and share gems. So I want to show you something real quick so you can learn just a little bit more about it, and I will see you on our next episode. Hey mama, I know you enjoyed this episode. I just wanted to let you know that you should tap into community, because you need friends. You deserve to be around people who love, support, and accept you for who you are and can hold your hand along this journey. So check out Rich Mama's Club. Thanks for watching.